So the Knicks quietly here starting to really put it together. They've won 6 of the last 7. They're now 3-1 on this road trip that wraps up at Minnesota on Monday night. And for the first time, Alan, since 2007, the Knicks post wire-to-wire victories in back-to-back games.
Yeah, that's tremendous. And it's all about the schedule, about beating the teams that you're supposed to beat. And the Knicks have taken care of that business. And so this is that pocket of the schedule. As we knew, the beginning of the season was going to be tough. But you looked at some of these games and thought, okay, there's a bunch of winnable games there. Take care of business. And they have done that. And now, of course, you go into the stretch. Monday ends this trip in Minnesota. Very good team, Timberwolves. Very good defensive team. That's going to be a fun game to watch for sure. And then you have Miami after Thanksgiving at home in the Garden. First time we've seen them since the playoffs. So you feel good against beating teams like this, supposed to beat teams like the Hornets. And now it sets you up as you get into great momentum. The three-point shooting, the way this team offensively has been able to get themselves on track, getting into a fun part now of the season where you can match up against some of the better teams in the league.
All right, so R.J. Barrett back, missed the last 3 games with the migraine issues, and it was Josh Hart who came out of the starting lineup. Dante DiVincenzo, who started with Quentin Grimes out last night, started again, and he had the best game of his career. I mentioned career-high 25 points and a career-high 7 made threes.
And this is why they signed him, the versatility that he brings, not only the ability to score, but the ability to start or come off the bench, the ability to defend and give you offense, to just find his way and where do I fit. And also, by the way, the ability to shoot the 3. He is a very good three-point shooter. Now, started off the season not so great, but, again, as he said to Mike and Wally, I'm the only new guy. So you got to find your way where you fit and fit in. And slowly, the last couple of games, he has been. And that 3-ball, boy, that's really been going for him. I mean, think about it. 4 of 8 last night, 7 of 10 in this game. So whatever he's feeling right now, he wants to stay on that forever. But, this is why the decision of, all right, how do you improve the depth of this team? What Obi Toppin brought you is one thing. But what Dante DiVincenzo can bring you is something different. So essentially, that's what you did, is you replaced Obi with DiVincenzo, and you can see the little more versatility he brings, a little better fit with this team.
So DiVincenzo with a huge game, and Monica McNutt helped call the game on the MSG radio network. She joins us now on our post-game show from Charlotte. All right, Monica, your impressions. Another impressive Knicks win here. They're starting to put a string of solid performances back to back to back here.
Pidto, I thought you were going to stop your question at impressions. That's why my foot came up, because let's go, Dante DiVincenzo. 7 threes. Pidto, do you know anything about me as a basketball player, baby? Let the threes rain. All right. And
Monica, I've seen you shoot. I wouldn't be bragging about your shooting on the show right now.
Don't do that, Pidto. Don't even try it. Don't even try it. Check the record books, baby.
Yes.
What I did love, though, beyond Dante setting that new career high, was the moment that we got to have on radio with Jalen Brunson, who, as always, when he comes to talk with us, he hasn't looked at a stat sheet or doesn't know the context of what's happened. But he did say it was really special, having known Dante since freshman year, them being roommates and knowing how hard he works. And so to be on the court to do that with his teammate from Villanova was a really special thing. And I'm excited for both of those guys. And let's go. 3-point shooting. Can't get enough of that.
And very interesting stuff going on there in Charlotte. First and foremost, we all know it's Patrick Ewing, it's Allen Iverson, and then it's Monica McNutt when we talk about the history of Georgetown basketball. But second of all, though, it's back-to-back nights also because you were in the building. I'm just curious of this. Last night we heard the chants. Knicks fans showed out in Washington. And then tonight, late in the game, as Mike Breen kind of laid out and let the crowd, you heard a Let's Go Knicks chant as well. In back-to-back nights on the road, was there a Knicks takeover in the building? What did it sound like for you in the building?
So Pat and I were trying to figure it out because last night the Knicks fans seated at Capital One Arena, they were sort of concentrated. You could kind of see them in a particular section. Tonight they were around the arena, peppered in. And so Pat said, I actually think there were more fans in Washington. And I go, Pat, I'm not sure. I just think the seating arrangement looks a little different. And let me tell you, the chants compared to Friday versus tonight here in Charlotte, they had to be neck and neck. I mean, I think tonight's game and total performance, the 3-point shooting, and mixed in with one of those Knicks chants was one of those free giveaways for missed free throws from Hornets fans trying to make a little bit of noise, so we had to decipher that out. But it has been truly incredible to see the enthusiasm around this year's Knicks squad and the way that fans travel and support this organization, both Washington and Charlotte. During Content Day, though, guys, the teams told me that Orlando is probably the biggest home away from home venue, but these last two nights is pretty competitive for that honor.
Yeah, real special. In the pregame, we talked about Mitchell Robinson and the things that he could bring to this team. His rebounding, obviously, you don't always see it in the box score. You certainly don't see it in the scoring column. He's not a guy that's going to get post-ups in offense. But there was once again, Monica, I thought in this game where the opponent's pushing, there's Mitchell Robinson getting you that extra possession just to make sure you don't have an empty possession and you get a score just to keep them at bay. It's amazing that he has climbed up to third all-time now in offensive rebounding in this franchise's history. But what he does, that's not one of those look-at-the-box score kind of performances tonight.
I mean, yes, correct, Alan. Like, you are absolutely right. And I think tonight you look at those 3 blocks and kind of when they came in the course of the ball game. The second one was while the Hornets were making a little bit of a push. That lead had slipped below double digits, which we had seen for the duration of the ball game for the most part. I just think the way that Mitch is able to do it, too. I have not heard him complain about offense. I think he finished tonight with 4 points, 2 field goals. But in the same breath, and we got to workshop this as we watch some tape back, I have noticed the Knicks looking for him in the paint, but oftentimes it's that bounce pass, and it's just a little bit too crowded for it to be ultimately effective. He's so much better when the lobs go toward the rim where only he can get them. But I would also add to Mitch's performance in that vein, Josh Hart. He's another guy that didn't score a ton of points, but is giving you that energy. And so I think, again, we're at game 13 now. 13-20, 10-20 is where we start to see identities. And I got to say, guys, I like the identity that is brewing for this Knicks squad.
Monica, an interesting night for Jalen Brunson. He had 26 points in the first half, 6 points in the second half, but 6 of his 8 assists came in the second half. It's like he adjusted his game, as he always does, to what he saw in front of him in terms of how he was being defended.
The basketball IQ, Pidto, like, you just cannot question it. And I think what was fun for Pat and I on the broadcast is you saw him get to that left hand in and out and then sort of that step back on Brandon Miller, who is 6'8". Then you saw him do the same thing to Ish Smith, who is, 6'1". That's kind of generous. And so to me, his ability to make the slightest adjustment in his game, depending on who's guarding him, is the same thing that you see in the macro in terms of understanding the team's defensive schematics. I know this year, that pass when he's at one lane line extended and he fires it to the opposite wing has been so impressive. Tonight he got picked off one time, which was like, ooh, that's why I always think that pass is so dangerous. But for the most part, he gets it where he intends for it to be. And so Jalen's basketball IQ. And I think, guys, we bring this up on the broadcast repeatedly, and I think it's something that you got to hold on to. The offseason, not super splashy. Donte DiVincenzo makes great sense, and it looks good now, and I'm excited for what he's going to do in a Knicks uniform over the course of this season. But beyond that, the real winner was the continuity. And I think in this last stretch, you have seen the benefit of that. As a team, they were not flustered or alarmed when the field goal percentage didn't look so great to start the season because they know one another, they know their system, they trust their work, and that fruit is being bared at this point.
All right, Monica, work on that jump shot. We'll see you on Monday night.
Bye.
See you on Monday night with the Knicks at Minnesota. Monica McNutt actually had a great college basketball career at Georgetown, of course. We kid because we care.
Of course, yes. A terrific player, obviously, and somebody that certainly knows the game as well. And like as we were talking about, the continuity factor, the 93, I believe was the number, 93% of the Knicks offense returned from last season. It's the highest of any team in the league to return that much of your offense. So that speaks volumes about the continuity aspect. And so as we saw their earlier struggles offensively with this team, as she said, it's true. They probably were, we all, this is Knicks fans, media, we all kind of watch it going, uh-oh, what's going to happen? Can they score? Are they going to have trouble scoring? And they were calm about it, knowing because they've done it before. The confidence that comes from demonstrated performance with that same group. You add, as DiVincenzo said, I'm the new guy. I'm the only new guy. So I had to find my way of fitting in, but you knew what he brought to the table and how to make that fit. And that's why I said, as far as fit goes, DiVincenzo fits this group, not just because of obviously the Villanova background and his relationship with Brunson and Hart, but also because of the style of play that he brings and his versatility, which is now we're seeing on display.
Continuity, by the way, really showing itself in the fourth quarter here lately.
True.
Knicks are winning the fourth quarter night after night, and that has really helped them to this 6 wins in the last 7 games.